What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Perfectly Blended Podcast, Season 5, Episode 11. Today, we get to talk about stepmoms and Mother's Day. That's coming up
right now.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Perfectly Blended Podcast. This podcast is for blended families, for couples that want to strengthen their marriage and want a brighter future. Perfectly Blended exists to break the stigma of divorce, drop the shame and guilt holding you back, and equip marriages to thrive instead of just survive. We believe all that is possible in this life is based on the power of Jesus Christ and His ability to restore us fully. Let's dive in. What is up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a wonderful week. And if you live in Michigan, it's raining again. I mean, Christy said something funny a couple days ago. It's just like we're living in Seattle, which is kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Which is depressing.
It's overcast, rainy, or it snows.
It is. It's dumb is what it is.
But it's May. It's gonna be May.
I knew you were gonna do that. You almost can't help it. When it's May, it's like instantly everybody wants to say that. Or May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
Which leads into a really funny, cool story.
Yeah. So tomorrow we are going to be first-time grandparents.
Yep. It's planned.
It's planned, yeah. So Jordan is having her C-section tomorrow. She goes in at 7:30. She's having a little boy. And I forgot to tell you this, so I'm glad I'm talking about it. When I was on the phone today with her, she wants you and I to guess his name, how long he is, and how much he's going to weigh, and send her the guess.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, that's pressure.
She's not telling anyone the name, which I think is just rude. I think the parents have the right to know the name and just funny. Not tell anyone else.
That's so funny.
I think it's absolutely rude.
So selfish.
It is so selfish that she's not telling us the name.
Child.
Because we're going to find out anyway. I mean, you might as well just tell us. So, yeah, she's not doing that. But anyway, so tomorrow, it was so funny story. Last Wednesday, she went to the doctor because, you have to go like every day when you're so close to the end. Yeah. And the doctor told her it will either be Friday, that coming Friday, or the following Monday. I'll put it in for Friday. And if we, can't get it scheduled in the hospital, we'll do it for that Monday. So she came over and that Saturday and we're all talking and I'm like, if it's going to be a Monday, I mean, Monday's the 2nd. You might as well just wait until Wednesday. Wednesday is the 4th. And you can say, may the 4th be with you. And your husband's name's Luke. Okay. So, and I looked up, or someone sent me the other day, Luke had a son and his son's name was like Benjamin. And I'm like, so the name should be Benjamin. It's May 4th and your husband's name's Luke. It couldn't be like more perfect. And she was like, no way, blah, blah, blah. Well, then she called me on Friday and was like crying and was like, when it's going to be, and that Wednesday, I'm sorry. And I'm like, Monday? Because I knew she wanted it sooner rather than later. And she's like, May the 4th. I'm like, yeah. And I started singing, Jesus loves me, this I know. And she got, annoyed by it. But anyway, she was hoping she'd go into labor before tomorrow, and she has not. Yet.
Well, it still could happen today, right? You never know. You don't know.
It's tomorrow.
So 7:30 a.m. tomorrow is when she goes in. And
my name.
Prayers for her and her family and her new baby.
Have you settled on your name, like what you're going to be called?
No, I don't know yet. Anything but Grandpa, because I'm weird like that.
My name's going to be Lovey.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of that in the comments, okay? Everyone has an opinion about this. Like, what happens when you're not 50 yet, but you're going to be a grandparent? Okay, first off, the new thing is don't call me grandma or grandpa, right? That's the thing. And so everybody is like being called these different names and stuff. So I'd be curious what everybody thinks. Yeah, Lovey.
My name's Lovey.
Just Lovey. Not Grandma Lovey, not Mrs. Lovey, just Lovey.
Yeah, Jordan did say, can we call you Grandma Lovey? When they get to be 8 or 9 years old, yeah, he can call me Grandma Lovey all day long because I know he will say both words. Okay, when they're 2, they aren't going to say Grandma Lovey. They're just going to say Grandma. So.
And they have Grandma. And it's like Grandma has been like kind of posted up for like 2nd generation grandparent, right? So like great grandma will be grandma. Because you don't call your great grandma great grandma.
No, my kids called her Nana.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody has a name anyway. So that's an exciting thing. Prayers for her and her hubby and the baby. Everybody's going to be safe. So scheduled C-section, we know that that's all standard stuff, but it's still, how it is. So we have an exciting week.
Yes.
With that going on. So today we really wanted to talk a little bit about Mother's Day, but Christy sent me something yesterday and goes, look, I really want to talk about this.
This was Josh's idea.
It was my idea. 'Twas not, because it's about stepmoms. It's about Mother's Day. And I think this is an amazing topic because, I was thinking too, when, I get up on Sunday and stuff, and I do the announcements every week. And I think to myself, like, Mother's Day is coming up and we always thank you moms for all that you do. And we kind of forget and miss the mark on making sure that we call out stepmoms. You figure half of the people there, most likely, are step-parents. And so there is a distinction between mom and stepmom, as much as we want to pretend there's not. So I think this is really powerful of what Christy wants to talk about today. So please help us out in the comments if there's anything anybody wants to mention or talk about or struggle with when it comes to this. I know people do. Please join in on the conversation today.
Yeah, and Mother's Day is a sensitive subject for me all the way around because I don't talk to my mom. I haven't talked to my mom in years, and there's a whole story behind that of the reason why. But she just is not a good person to have in my life about that. And then, two, Mother's Day typically is celebrated, especially in the church community, of they play these videos of these moms that are running around and have babies on their hips, and they're stay-at-home moms, and they're making dinner, and they're cleaning the house, and they're doing all the laundry, and they're doing all of these things. But that's not me either. I've been in the working world. I didn't get the luxury to stay at home with my kids, and then on top of that, I'm a stepmom too. So, and it's like, I'm kind of like second rate when it comes, and you are, when it comes to your stepkids. So all of that, Mother's Day all the way around is a sensitive subject for me. And then when I don't talk to my own mother, I kind of want to make Mother's Day, which that will get to one of the points, but I kind of just want it to be about me then.
Yeah.
But then it's like I got married, and it's like my husband's like, well, we have to go see my mom. And I'm just like, I don't see my mom, type of thing. So
yeah, which is a real
the whole
struggle.
day is just a sensitive subject for me.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
And we've created a bunch of stuff around it and a bunch of different ways of doing things. And we really want to, we've really worked as a family to really kind of cater to Christy in a special way around that. Whatever she wants to do, we are in. Like, we're in. And even, if you have teenagers, you understand the point of pulling them to the side and having private little chats with them and saying, you're going to smile and you're going to like it. Okay. And you're not going to make any comments. And you're not going to say anything like you don't want to be doing this. And so I've had to coach these guys, mainly boys. Jordan was always all in, right?
Yeah.
Jordan's much older than everybody else. So, when the other boys are together, I've always had to coach them along and say, listen, we need to make this special for her. I don't care if you want to be here or not. It's not about you. And so, so we've done some things over the years to make sure that things have worked, but it's still a struggle.
But I do want to piggyback on that and say every single year I make a purposeful, thought out decision to try to encompass something that everyone will enjoy. Like going to that.
You're too nice sometimes, I think.
Yeah, which he tells me. Like playing putt-putt, I know that wouldn't necessarily be their first choice, but it's not going to like the ballet, right? And so, not that I would want to do that, but I'm just throwing that out there. Or we went to one year Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum. If you live in Michigan, it's a very, very cool place actually to go. We went and played laser tag one time. We went to Dave and Buster's one time. Mm-hmm. And that was fun. So I always do try to, because I don't want miserable kids either.
These are not motherly things.
Well, I don't want miserable kids either. The whole point is to celebrate being a mother, right? And celebrating being a mother is children, or you're not a mother.
Yeah, but we want to make sure we celebrate you, though, too. And so, but that's her heart, though. She just wants everybody to be around her and be happy.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is really what every mom probably really wants, right?
Yeah.
Like, can I make everybody happy just one day a year? Like, and have everybody happy. And so we love her heart because of it. But the struggle's real, especially when we're talking about stepmoms and Mother's Day. So,
so
we want to dedicate today to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. So let's dive into the points. Okay. So the first point today is something that Christy wanted to talk about, and it's something called double duty.
Yeah, double duty. So I've seen a lot actually lately. I'm part of, Josh and I have our own blended family group, Christian couples, in blended families. But we are also part of a lot of blended family groups on Facebook. And it's interesting to see the diversity and the different aura of the groups, or the tone or the emotion. And one of the groups in particular is particularly negative and toxic and
Which group is that? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, you're so sweet.
So it's just funny to read some of these comments though about like, oh, it should be about me. Yeah, stepmom's talking. Their mom wants them on Mother's Day and she needs to understand that I'm their mom too. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. She doesn't. And I think that does come from a place that maybe with a person that doesn't have any kids of their own. I do feel like we can become territorial over it. But if we change our attitude about it, like I have kids of my own, so it has helped me kind of keep my balance with that. If someone ever, like if their dad ever got with someone and that person tried to replace me or tried to like become their mom, quote unquote, I wouldn't like that. And so I want to respect Mother's Day is for moms, right? And yes, I am a stepmom, but it should also be for the mother. And I know some people are like, oh, I let, my kid's stepmom have half the day and I have half the day. That is great. That is great. But most mothers, and I can't speak to that. I never had to make that decision, but I could pretty much tell you right now, I wouldn't share Mother's Day with my boys with another woman. Like she can change it and have it be on another day. They're my kids. I'm the mom. I want them on Mother's Day. End of story. And so I have respect for that. Even though I don't have respect for my stepkid's mother, I do respect the fact that she is their mother and I would never want to replace her. So we have put into, as much as possible, tried to celebrate it the day before. So Saturday, like this coming Saturday, we're going to go out, and it's kind of different even this year because my oldest son works now every Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be kind of different with that. We may have to celebrate it on Monday. I don't know. But Saturday we are doing something with my stepson, Josh, and then one of my kids, Graydon. We're going to do something like go to Frankenmuth, which that wouldn't be their first pick, but walk around so we can take our little Stella and do that. And then we would celebrate, like last year, I'll use last year, for instance, we did something for all together on Saturday. We went out to dinner, or we did something, putt-putt, I don't remember. And then the next day on Sunday, it was just my two kids and him. And I found a restaurant that was like far away, over an hour away, that I wanted to try. And we went and did that, type of thing. Yeah. So you try to celebrate both, and you do have to kind of do double duty and figure out like, okay, we want to do something with the stepkids involved to let them know that I love them. I want them as part of the day. I'm not trying to replace their mom. It's a very like balance act. Not so much anymore because they're older, but when they're younger, it is a balancing act. Like you want them to know you love them. You want them to be a part of your day, but you also don't want to overshadow their mom. So we would do something the day before. And then my kids know that Mother's Day is my day. Sorry, Bucky Beaver.
All right. So would you say that you're territorial?
Yes.
Would you say that you love my kids?
Yes.
Very much?
Yes.
So at what point, in what way, were you able to draw the line of being able to tell yourself and convince yourself that it's okay that you're the stepmom and not the mom?
What put me in check the most is I would have to keep reminding myself I wouldn't want someone doing that to me. Now, I can play the game that I deserve to be respected as a mother.
And you do.
And she doesn't. But again, I don't feel like anyone purposely is going out in the world maliciously, unless they're an axe murderer, maliciously trying to ruin their kids, like emotionally and psychologically and all of those things. She doesn't make good decisions for herself. And there's lots of mothers probably that are out there. I was one of them even before I got sober and started living my life right. I was one of them moms that didn't make decisions based around my children until I got sober. So I had to keep putting myself like, okay, if the roles were reversed, if someone was trying to take the place, if I viewed it as someone was trying to replace me and be disrespectful to the fact that I was their mom, how would I feel? How would I want the person to act? And over time, this took over time.
Yeah.
Because it did start out, I'm like, she doesn't deserve to have she doesn't deserve to have children. But that's not my choice, right? God gave her those children. God loves her as much as he loves me. And I used to have to say that through grit teeth. And I don't so much anymore. You know, I've really prayed for God to soften my heart when it comes to that and all of those things. And I haven't been a perfect mom, you know, so I really have tried to put myself in and flip the roles around so I can stay, because it's about the kids, right? And you don't want to put them in the middle.
Right.
If you
and
try,
you shouldn't, right? And you shouldn't.
Right. The more you try to be like, you should want to spend time with me. Not that you're saying those words out loud, but your actions are showing it.
Yeah.
You know, or your insinuations, like you should want to be spending your time with me. I'm the one that's here for you all the time. I'm the one that goes out of my way. I'm the one that shows you what unconditional love is. I'm the one that does all of these things for you. And I don't make you feel like crap about yourself. Like all of those things, it still makes them feel in the middle because children have loyalty to their bio parents. They have loyalty and God has designed it that way, I think. You know, it still breaks my heart to tell people I don't talk to my mom. You know, every mom that I know that has a daughter, they're super, super close. Yeah. You know, my mom never really liked me because I'm a lot like my dad, and my mom doesn't like my dad, didn't like my dad. So it was hard. It was hard.
So what I'm hearing you say, Lisa,
yeah, wrap this up.
This is, well, I'm just saying, you know, I think it was a little all over, but I think the reason why I asked this question is because I think a lot of times you had every right and every reason to feel like my kids needed a good mom.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be that mom.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you understood that's not necessarily what's best for the situation, is for you to push your agenda of being their mom onto them. Correct?
Yeah. And I felt I had, 5 different stepmoms in my life.
Okay. So
my dad was married 5 times.
Yeah.
And so I also would think the ones that I really respected, and how were they there for me?
Yeah.
You know, they never came across to me. Maybe they were trying to be my mom, but they never came across to me as a mom. They came across to me as a friend.
Sure.
You know, or a mentor, or, someone that would be there for me that I could talk to and stuff. So I also would think about that too. Like that's the role I would want to be for them.
Yeah. Well, you never made it about you. And I think that's a big part. And I think that's a big message right now is even hearing this, at least from my standpoint, is you never really made it about you. And I know Mother's Day is coming up. And so you've kind of had to find your personal groove in this whole thing to make it work. But it's taken truckloads of humility along the way.
Yeah, I had to be, I'm a pretty vocal person. And
This is true.
One of my things is that I don't like bullies, and I don't like people that push people around, especially people that don't deserve to be pushed around. And, I had to take a lot of, to me, embarrassing moments of years of public humiliation from their mom, public embarrassment, because I didn't want to make it worse for the kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fight her or yell with her or whatever, because the kids are humiliated already. Yeah. And so I had to set my pride down and put my pride aside it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
But you didn't get bitter, you got better.
Yeah.
And your consistency of wanting to work on yourself and stay true to your faith and all those things, but ultimately seeing my kids as something special in our lives.
Yeah, bonus kids.
Yeah, is really the thing that really kind of, you kept all that at the forefront, which I know is hard, but I think that's, staying true to your faith and, working hard on our marriage and things like that really made that possible. But being a stepmom, at least from my standpoint, is the hardest job. I think her job's way harder than even my job. And I'd say that honestly, though, because you get the shortest end of the stick. You really do in this whole thing, which is tough. But you never felt justified or it's my turn, to act a specific way, because you always thought to yourself, like, it's not the kid's fault.
No, you might remember this, but her mom, the grandma, came over to our house one time and wanted to take me outside and be like, I'm the queen around here. I'm the queen bleep around here, you know, all this
Queen
stuff.
bee.
And that wasn't the word she used. But I truly was telling her, like, you and your daughter have it completely messed up. You guys want that title? You can have that title. I'm not trying to vie for that title. I'm here to help be another person in these kids' life, to love on them and to help them grow up and show them support and a foundation and safety. You know, if they'll always have somewhere to come. They'll always have someone to call and talk to. I didn't have that growing up. And so that is like a core thing, I think, inside of me. Because when I think back to that, I don't know. I'll get emotional. I don't know how a kid can grow up and have no one. I don't know how I did it. I don't. And so I never, ever, ever, ever want a kid to feel that way.
Yeah. I think that's one of like your we're kind of sidestepping now, but I think that's like, you know, it's one of your God-given spiritual gifts is just being able to love people deeply. I mean, you would stab people for the people you truly care about. Yeah. You would lay yourself down and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
You would do anything for the people that you love deeply because you didn't get that.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much power into that, especially when you come in as a step parent. You're already I mean, if you think of like one of the worst women, think of the cartoons, right? Like the stepmom, the wicked stepmom. Like stepmoms are considered horrible, rotten people, right? And you've always carried that title with a crown, though, because it's like an opportunity to, and I'll get emotional, to love my kids in a special way that they didn't get.
Yeah.
And so you have always gotten the short end of the stick, but because of that, you've been able to pour extra love into our kids, you know?
Well, what sucks too, in my instance, and maybe it's not like this for every stepmom, but I got the short end of the stick with my own kids then too. So it's like I was trying to this delicate balance with his ex and the ex's mom. I mean, I basically had to deal with two exes and not overstep with his kids, and his kids are loyal to that whole side. And then my ex was telling, you know, my kids, like, I'm an awful person. I broke up the family, and my kids had anger towards me. Yeah. And then he also would say things to them like, oh, I would never leave you to go to somebody else's game and things like that. And so then I struggle with, you know, the loyalty to my own kids. Like, I don't want my own kids to feel like I love them any less. And so it is hard for stepmoms, for sure. Yeah. It's very, very hard.
It is. And when we're talking about Mother's Day, we're talking about a day that we're able to celebrate the mom. And I think you've made it very clear, like as a stepmom, it really doesn't feel like you're getting any type of celebration because you have to split the whole day up in 15 different ways.
Yeah, it does. But I've came to terms with it.
You have, in a wonderful way.
Yeah.
We've solved it through compromise.
Yeah.
And you don't feel justified like in a grateful way. Now when it comes to Sunday and Mother's Day itself, she's like, these my kids. And that's okay because you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and you haven't had to fight anybody on that end. So the second
point, I've gotten really blessed on that, actually.
You have been, yeah.
Because I would kill somebody.
It's been a
like
big blessing.
He just told you.
I will be stabbing people.
Mm-hmm.
But the second thing that she really wanted to talk about that she told me is she really wants to talk about the mom or the mother-in-law.
Yeah. So the reason why I talked about this earlier, and I know everybody's situation's different, but like I said, Mother's Day for me is a weird day all around. So, you know, I don't have a relationship with my mom. I never really have. I mean, it was on and off, but I haven't talked to her in 5 years?
Yeah, probably about that.
But I didn't really have a mom growing up, so I never felt like, you know, to celebrate my mom. Father's Day was the same thing, you know, and so Mother's Day when I had kids was a special thing for me. And I'm like, finally, you know, I get to celebrate Mother's Day, but it's because I'm a mom, you know, and my grandma was always special to me, you know, but she has her own kids, you know, but my grandma is my mom to me. So then when he and I got together, his family, when we first got together, it's not so much anymore. They were really close. Like they all did. I mean, over the years, they've all naturally just went and grown apart. But when we first got together, he was really the only one, I mean, Jamie too, that had kids, you know, so all of them did. They all went over to their mom's house. All the kids went.
Mm-hmm.
And so when him and I got together, it was like Mother's Day was a big deal to me. And when he was just like, well, we go over my mom's because his mom's birthday is around that time
Is May
too.
12th, which lands on Mother's Day sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, we all go over my mom's house. And then I was like, I was devastated. And I already have to try to balance it with having my stepkids. And it's like all of these things. So in the beginning, I was really angry about it. And a couple times unchristian, like I was angry and I threw a fit like the whole day. Like we went over there and hung out with his mom and his family and everything, but I was really deep inside, like really bitter about it. And then God started to work on my heart because you can celebrate Mother's Day whenever you want. I know it's a specific day on the calendar, but you can, like, if we needed to go over and spend Mother's Day at his mom's house, we could work out our schedule with all of our stepkids and all of my kids, all of my stepkids, all of my kids, and we could celebrate it on Monday night or something to make it to where we could do something together. And that's how we've worked out Christmas now. That's just how you have to celebrate holidays, especially in a blended family. So now it has kind of worked out where the whole family really doesn't even get together on Mother's Day on his side anymore. So we try to go over and see his mom, drop off a card and things like that. Maybe not on that day, but we try. So everything is kind of really smoothed out. I mean, you stick things out and put in the work. I mean, things will eventually calm down. But the first 5 to 7 years of our relationship were very, very...
It was hard because we were trying to figure it out.
Tumultuous? Is that a word?
Yeah, that is a word. It was crazy because we were constantly trying to blend things, right? Constantly more families, multiple families. Christy had a way of doing things. I had a way of doing things. You know, now I married a woman. Now it's Mother's Day. Now do we do things the way that Josh's family does them? Well, it's Mom's Day. So we can't, and it gets really hairy, tumultuous, like we said.
And I'm lucky because I don't have a husband that's like, you're not my mom. And there are some husbands out there that
without a doubt.
like that.
Yeah, like, no problem. I'll go to my mom's on today.
Because you're not
fine.
my mom.
And you can go do what you want. And it's Mother's Day,
Right.
And that's just not how we've ever rolled. We've never done that.
Yeah.
I like what Annie says. She goes, I have 2 birth sons and 3 stepsons, and praise God, I love all of them as my own sons, and they honor me as their mom. Our story goes on even 9 years after their dad died. Wow. And 13 years after their mom died, which is amazing. That's great relationship building. This is about lifelong relationships. And it really honestly is. I think there's so much value in knowing that in the early years, it's hard. Like you're duking it out, you're hurt feelings, all of these things. But ultimately it's about creating deeper relationships with people. And so
ultimately it's about the marriage.
It always boils down to the marriage and the strength in the marriage, and everything flows from there. It really, really does. So I think there's a lot of power in that. All right, moving on. The last thing that she really wanted to talk about is this my day?
Right. And I kind of already bled into from the other two. And it really is and isn't, right? You have to figure out what works best for your blended family. And would God want me walking around with a haughty heart that day, or a bitter heart, or a heart full of anger? God cares about our heart. He doesn't care about what we're doing. He cares about where our heart is during that time. So yeah, there has to be compromises done, but that goes on both sides. I've had to give up some of it because I can't spend Mother's Day with my stepkids, and that's okay. In a lot of the world, when you say, and that's okay, people are being smart alecky about it, or they're being passive aggressive about it, or they're being fake about it. And a lot of the world doesn't know how to take that when I literally tell people that's okay about anything. And it is okay. Like I was saying earlier, like if we want to celebrate a Mother's Day with our whole family as a whole, we did it. We tried to do it the day before with all the kids. Like I said, this year's going to be a little different. Adds another caveat to it because Garrett works on the weekends. But it is what it is. I mean, they're growing up. This is life. Jordan's getting ready to have a baby. Jordan's not going to be there for Mother's Day. I mean, she's getting ready to become a mom herself.
Before Mother's Day.
Yeah, right before Mother's Day. And now she's going to want her own traditions. And you have to respect that because she's going to be a mom for the first time. And so it's like you have to unapologetically, though, with a kind heart, figure out what works best for your family, and still kindly try to fit everybody else in, all the other moms in. Celebrate my grandma, celebrate his mom, celebrate Jordan now because, you know, she's our daughter and she's going to be a mom now.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing to celebrate. And celebrate my kids, celebrate being a stepmom. You just have to figure out how to balance it all. And Sundays, I mean, it falls on a Sunday. So it's like we have to go to church. So God's the one that made me a mom, right? So you have to fit that in there too. So it's a lot of balancing, but really, really, if you submit to God and really have him soften your heart about things and you and your husband really talk, compromise, work things out. I mean, have it be in every other schedule if you need to. Things can get worked out. And in the grand scheme of life, it's really not that important to fight that big about.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I've gotten to the point now it's like, you know, I really try to celebrate Christy all throughout the year.
Yeah.
You know, I really do, you know, special moments and, you know, things of this nature. And it's just like, let her know that, you know, it's not just her being a mom that makes her special. It's not just one special day, you know, she has done an amazing job. I mean, she has such an amazing relationship with my kids. It's so heartwarming. I mean, sometimes my kids contact her about something before they contact me. Okay. And I'm like, hey, you know, but in a loving way, right? Because I'm so happy that my kids feel that comfortable. And so I want to celebrate her as much as I possibly can throughout the year, that it's so much more than just one day. So, you know, I think the important message today is that this day is coming up, but understand your role and understand that, you know, there's still kids involved. There's still other moms involved. And ultimately, our dedication is to Jesus Christ and honoring our faith in the way that we carry out our actions. And knowing that if we try to make everything about us, we end up making nothing about the reality of really what's going on. And so we destroy our testimony, we destroy relationships. And so you are a mom, you're a stepmom, but you're so much more than that. You know, you carry the load, and in so many ways that's unbelievable, you know, and that you need to be honored, you know, for who you are. And it doesn't take just this day to do that. You know, work on your marriage, work on your faith, and allow God to work through those things to make you feel more grounded and more appreciated in the ways that you deserve.
Yeah.
You agree?
And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
And happy Mother's Day. We hope you found some value in this. Please hit the share button if you could. And next week, we have a special interview that we're going to be bringing you, and that's exciting. Yeah.
I'm super excited about it.
It is super exciting. So we want you to enjoy the rest of your week, get out your boat and go row it in the middle of the road, since Michigan apparently is in monsoon weather. And if not, if you're in a different state, enjoy the sun.
If you live in Michigan, you really should try out Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum. I have to say it very slowly because it's a tongue twister for me.
It's the only one, so Google it.
Yes. So it really is a fun place to take the kids. And they have old arcade games that you take a penny or a dime, you know, but it's wall to wall packed, floor to ceiling with different things to do. Old games.
Very old.
Newer games, you know, but mostly old. And it's really cool. You know, they have statues of the world's tallest man in there, and they have all different old carnival things like decorations put up. It was actually it was one of my most memorable Mother's Days ever.
It was super vintage, and it's really neat in there.
And I have an old soul.
And you do have an old soul.
That's probably why I remember
She is vintage on the inside, so.
So that's probably why I remember it.
Probably.
It was so much fun.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7.
Bye.